Greetings and welcome to our daily walk through the scriptures for April the 6th. Our conversation today finds us in Deuteronomy chapter 31 and 32, verses 1 through 27 in Deuteronomy 32, Luke chapter 12, 8 through 34, Psalm 78, 32 through 55, and Proverbs chapter 12, verses 21 through 23. Now, have you ever really thought about legacy? Like what kind of legacy you're going to leave behind? As I get older and as I look at my kids, legacy becomes far more important to me than it did when I was younger. I wasn't necessarily worried about, what was going to happen after I was gone when I was a young man. But now that I'm older, it's something that I think about really quite a bit. Moses is someone who must have thought about legacy quite a bit because we get here into Deuteronomy chapter 31, and Moses makes the proclamation and the commissioning of Joshua. Now, here's the thing: nobody in the camp of Israel would have been surprised by this because scripture tells us that Joshua was actually present for a lot of Moses' encounters with God. Early on, and we don't know why, we don't know how he identified him, but early on, Moses clearly identified Joshua as his successor. And so he began to train Joshua up in this way. So that in Deuteronomy 31, when Moses says to the people, Joshua is going to be the man that takes me on, or that takes on my mantle of responsibility, nobody there was surprised. They immediately began to look at Joshua as that successor and as that leader. And so Moses, though, wants to make sure that he sets Joshua up for great success. And so he very clearly states to the people that this is the guy. If you had any doubts before, if you wondered before whether or not he was going to be the successor, he is going to be my successor. And so then Moses makes sure that the people understand their role in the conversation. And so he begins to read the law. And he reads it, and it says here in verse 12, he assembled all the people, the men, the women, the little children, even the sojourners, people that would just might have been traveling and passing through. He made every single one of them come so that he could let them hear and be reminded of the law of the Lord. And then Moses begins this really weird song. And I say it's really weird because honestly, if you read it, hopefully you do, it's kind of harsh. It's harsh towards the people. It talks about how they dealt corruptly. They're no longer his children. They are blemished. They're foolish and senseless. I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on. That Moses is talking about this previous generation of people that were supposed to be following God. Moses is using this as an encouragement to go, don't be like this. And interestingly enough, our readings in Psalm 78 kind of mirror this. If you read Psalm 78, and I know you just have a portion of it to read today because it's a longer psalm, but if you read the psalm in its entirety, you recognize and realize that this is the story of the people of Israel. That this psalm is exactly what Moses is talking about. When Moses is going through Deuteronomy and bringing up the history of the people of Israel, Psalm 78 is doing the exact same thing. In verse 35, there's hope to be had that Moses is trying to help these people. They remembered that God was their rock. Well, that is a good reminder for us today as well. God is our rock. That even when we stray away, even when we forget about the power and the majesty of God, he is still our rock. He will still continue to be there. As it says in verse 38 of Psalm 78, yet he, being compassionate, atoned for their iniquity. And that's exactly what Christ did for us. When Christ died, he atoned for our iniquity. Complete atonement, not just partial atonement, full atonement. And so these are great encouragements for us. As we read these things, read yourself into the story. Look at it and recognize that you, if you get annoyed at the people of Israel like I do, it's probably because they do the same things that you do. Okay? And as you look at the people of Israel and how they ebbed and flowed with their relationship with God, take a moment of hard reflection and realize maybe perhaps you also ebb and flow. Yet God is our rock, and he forgives us of our iniquities. Okay, there's your thought for the day. We'll talk next time.